Guys, good morning. This video is going to be a little bit touchy, but if you have any issues, just please click off now. This guy has been living with his wife, obviously, for several years, but they have this secret that they haven't ever shared, and they basically have been
Are
caught.
you Ross? I'm
I
Tyler
don't know
Duncan.
what
I'm
they've
with
done.
Anderson County Sheriff's Office. This is Steve.
How you doing?
This is Ross Velarde, and for the last 8 years, he and his wife Amy have been living with a terrifying secret that these detectives are about to expose.
I got assigned the case about the homicide that happened in Pendleton in 2015. We'd like to talk to you.
Amy's parents, Mike and Kathy, as well as Amy's grandmothers, Barbara and Violet, were brutally murdered inside their own home in 2015, leaving police with the grueling task of solving a quadruple homicide.
Jesus.
As family members, we want answers.
But unbeknownst to everyone, Ross and Amy were the killers all along.
You know,
But
just the way she answered, just the way she said
a
this.
quadruple homicide.
As family members, we want answers.
The look in her eye, there's no sympathy, there's
But
nothing
unbeknownst
from
to
her.
everyone,
Like-
Ross and Amy were the killers all along.
We're not here because we think you did it or you might have did it. We know you did it. It's piling up, Ross. You don't want to roll the dice on this, I'm telling you.
So what? How did they get caught?
November
This
1st,
video supposedly is
2015,
pretty
Mike and
reasonably
Kathy
detailed.
Scott, alongside their mothers,
Pretty
Barbara
reasonably.
and Violet, were found brutally murdered in their trailer home. Everyone was found with similar injuries, a slashed throat and a gunshot wound to the head made after they died. They were also found with knife wounds on their hands, indicating that each victim had tried to fight back before being killed. There were even bloody handprints on the doors and walls, showing that someone had even tried to escape after they'd been stabbed.
Oh, sorry.
The
Sorry.
terrifying scene inside the trailer home would go completely unnoticed for the entire day, until, according to Amy, she went to check up on her parents and found them lying dead inside their home. And at around 12:30 that day, Amy decided to call 911.
911 was location of emergency.
Oh my God! I need somebody out here.
What's going on?
Oh God!
There's four people.
In my mama's house, and
Who are these people that are in the house?
it's my mom and my grandma and my granny and my stepdad.
When Anderson County Police arrived on the scene, they said it was one of the bloodiest scenes they'd ever been to. But something was off. Detectives noted no signs of forced entry and thought it couldn't have been a robbery as there were multiple valuable items left in plain sight inside the home.
Okay.
This made two things clear to detectives. Whoever was responsible
Knew
was
them.
allowed inside the home before the acts, and that they only had one thing on their mind: murder. It seemed like this case had to have been committed by someone close to Mike and Kathy, but with insufficient evidence, the case slowly went cold, allowing Amy and Ross to get back on the streets and live their normal lives again for
Jesus
years
Christ,
to come.
man.
But police always had their suspicions about this case and were never comfortable letting it stagnate. Amy's Facebook page showed that she constantly had
I'm so tired of Kathy and Mike's constant disrespect towards me and my children. They're always trying to control everything, and it's exhausting. They're narcissistic, emotionally abusive, and have no regard for anyone's feelings. How can people be so selfish and cruel? I just want to protect my kids from their toxic behavior. It's heartbreaking to see the impact they have on my children. Someone please tell me I'm not alone in this.
fights with Kathy and Mike over her children, often calling them narcissistic, emotionally abusive, and disrespectful. What's most disturbing was a video of Ross and Kathy's fighting found on Amy's page, where Ross says something that would come back to haunt him forever.
Why don't you have Grandma come out here real quick?
I don't think your grandma wants to deal with this trash.
Yeah, I'll show you. Stop.
Yep, see ya. Okay.
In addition to this eerie statement from Ross, police found something that seems damning. They discovered a photo Mike had sent to a coworker just 2 days before his death, a couple of $100 bills. And inside Amy and Ross's trailer was a neatly organized stack of $100 bills, exactly the same serial numbers as Mike's. At the time, this was all treated as circumstantial, but slowly more coincidences would begin to line up that gave police enough reason to suspect Amy and Ross as potential killers. So, in 2023, they reopened the case, nearly a decade after the events
So
that
how
put
much
an end
evidence
to
did they
nearly an
actually
entire
obtain
family.
to-
Detectives started by launching a series of interviews with
to
Mike
get on
and
their
Kathy's
case?
closest peers to try and get a better picture of Amy and Ross, and see if they might have been responsible after all. They begin with Mike and Kathy's neighbor, to learn about Amy's relationship with her mom, and if he saw anything the day of the incident.
With the daughter, got angry with her and kept the children from Kathy.
So tell us about that.
It seemed that they really tried to help Amy a lot. And Mike and Kathy, they really took care of the kids. And it broke Kathy and Mike's heart. She just really missed the kids, and the two older ladies that lived there, they were used to the kids coming in and out.
You think Kathy was afraid at all of Amy and Ross?
No, she never expressed that. But it was always the talk of the area that Mike would go to flea markets and he would get some kind of video games that he collected. There was a good resale market for them, and that he would buy any old jewelry that had some gold in it. It was always a rumor that he kept a lot of cash and gold stuff around.
Not only did Mike collect jewelry and other rare memorabilia, but it was well known in the community that Mike always had a large sum of cash with him because he...
Was he gloating that he was doing this? That's the only reason why the neighbors would know that, right? That he would be telling people. Oh, I guess gloating is a bad way to put it, but he would be telling people that he's doing
feared
this.
putting money into the banking system. This made Mike a large target, especially amongst those who knew him well.
I think you've got to be one sick puppy to go in there and kill two helpless old women. The thought that somebody came in and killed those people, I still have nightmares about that.
This tells detectives that the murder could have been done for financial reasons, especially since this fact wasn't a secret at all. Couple this with the fact that Mike's money was currently sitting safely inside Ross and Amy's safe at home. A picture is starting to form of what might have actually happened that night. But still, nothing is certain at all, and police next head to Roxy Voorhees, an ex-employee of Amy and Ross's, who worked at their pet grooming business during the months leading up to the crime. Roxy had spoken to Amy almost every day for months before the incident, so if anyone had some information to give, it'd be her. And they were exactly right. What they found was so sinister, it blew the case wide open.
Ross had made a joke and said, do you want me to It was a joke at the time.
Right.
Then later I was like, holy, I'm glad I didn't say yeah.
I mean, technically, even when you joke about it with family and things like that, sometimes if it's being recorded and whatever, it can be brought back to you like it did with these guys, because whether you mention it as a joke or not, they take it seriously.
Right. What was your job there?
A bather, and I was learning in the process of grooming.
When you worked for the shop, you said they were just getting started, so they weren't very successful yet.
They appeared that they were fine.
Okay.
But then I would hear arguments of them, and
So it's
a
a
lot of it
financial
was
thing.
money related. When I started working for her, I seen Kathy and Mike at the grooming shop. I was in the back grooming, so I didn't hear everything that was going on, but it was something to do with money.
Okay.
Throughout working there, she'd always tell me about how she was treated growing up and all of that.
What kind of stuff would she say about how she was treated?
She told me that she was always a daddy's girl, and she said her dad had he was working on a car and it crushed him, and he was placed in the hospital. And her mom decided to pull the plug.
Wow.
She always hated her mom for that.
Interesting.
Detectives
Okay.
learned that their
So there's some
grooming
motive.
business wasn't as successful as they claimed it was. Based on bank records collected by police, Amy and Ross's proven income in 2013 was $25,622. However, in 2014, Ross spent $14,200 on a Ram truck, $5,700 on a Mustang, $10,000 on a Harley FXE, and another
Right.
$5,000 on a Harley XL, close
Right.
to $35,000 on luxury purchases, but an income of just $25,000. With these poor financial decisions, the couple needed money, and they needed it badly. In 2014, their business fell short, making just over $3,000 for the entire year. Things were bad, and they were on the brink of bankruptcy. So when the cops found $67,000 in cash hidden in their home, they knew something seriously strange was going on. Ross claims that he'd been saving the money for years, but detectives don't buy it at all. They're certain that, at a minimum, Ross and Amy had to have stolen from the house on the day of the murders. But to some extent, this was all known about 8 years ago, and it's still all circumstantial. For all the cops knew, Amy could have noticed the dead bodies in the trailer and grabbed the cash out of desperation before calling the police.
So wait, the cops knew that the cash was in there and they had the numbers on there that matched up with the ones that was stolen. But how do they know those specific bills were from the wall safe or whatever it is?
So
how
there
do they know
had to be
that?
something that set this investigation apart from the one back in 2015. However, this case would take a complete 180 after detectives would find their most blatant, crucial piece of evidence yet. When going through all the CCTV cameras throughout the town on the day of the murders, police found footage of Ross walking out of a gas station that night. Nothing is suspect at first, until you look a little closer. The shoes he's wearing are Asics Gel Speedstar 5s.
Wait. You can see that?
A little closer. The shoes
I can't see that. How do they
shoes
figure that
he's
out?
wearing are Asics Gel Speedstar
can, like,
5s, a
clear
model
up the
whose
image.
sole design just so happens to perfectly match the bloody footprints that were found inside the trailer. This claim was even confirmed by the shoe company themselves, and the pattern is unique to this specific model, making it clear to detectives that Ross Villardi
The
is
shoe
a
company even
cold-blooded
says,
killer.
though,
All the evidence had come together.
It's
The
a perfect
abundance of
match.
cash in Ross and Amy's home, Mike's $100 bills in Ross's safe, identical shoes to the killer, and an ugly past with Mike and Kathy. Police now believe they have everything they need to charge Ross and Amy with the murders. So, on December 11th, 2023, they decide to confront Ross and Amy at their new home to finally uncover the truth about that night once and for all.
Hey, are you Ross? I'm Tyler Duncan. I'm with Anderson County Sheriff's Office. This is Steve.
How you doing?
I got assigned
Steve.
the case about the homicide that happened
He
in
gets a
Pendleton in
full-
2015.
Okay.
Is Amy here?
Full name, and he's got
So
Steve.
since she's the one that called 911, I think you were there also. We'd like to talk to you. If you want to come on out, we'll talk to you, and then we can talk to her. Can you describe, I guess, your relationship with Mike and Kathy?
I had a good relationship with Kathy. My relationship with Mike was really great, actually. It kind of turned sideways a little bit July 4th.
So I think y'all had got married that year, is that right?
Correct.
In 2015?
Yes, October 24th.
The 24th. That would have been, what, about a week or so before?
Yep. The last time that I saw Mike and Kathy was before Amy and I left to come down that Halloween. We had just gotten back from my mom and dad's. She went to knock on the back door, but the back door kind of just like was already cracked open or something like that.
Okay.
And that's when she apparently found the scene that she found. She went bolting back out of the house. I think she called 911 before she called me, if I remember correctly.
So you didn't go over to the other trailer?
No.
Or to Mike and Kathy's trailer?
Correct. I never went in that trailer that day.
So after you last seen them, you never went in their place again?
Correct. Yeah.
I mean,
The detectives are baiting Ross into a trap, as they know
Is he
based on the
guilty?
footprints that Ross did without a doubt step into the house on the night of the murders.
He could have stepped
Later
in, but
on, they'll
maybe
be able
not
to
done it? I
confront
don't know.
Ross about these blatant lies in hopes they can shock him into a complete confession.
There was a couple things that kind of were red flags, but I don't know if they have anything to do with this or not. Mike bought and sold a lot of items, and some of the people that he was buying from were pretty shady sometimes. So
I think this is where
that's
they're
another
baiting
kind of
him,
red
right?
flag that I had as I was trying to just replay like events leading up to the homicide. Should I have seen something?
We're just starting out with this. If you were us, what would you do? What do you think happened there, Ross?
He's the first gentleman that's asked me that. TV shows that I watch always say,
What?
follow the money. And you find out where the real motives are.
Ross is unknowingly digging himself into an even deeper hole.
sounds
When the
like
money
it
is
now,
traced,
yeah.
it leads right back to his and Amy's pockets. But there's only
Did
so
you see how shocked he got, though?
He's a
What do you think happened there, Ross?
Look at this. He's like, it's a good question. I've thought about this before. I've thought about this question every day because I watch a lot of stuff.
He's the first gentleman that's asked me that. TV shows that I watch.
But why would you
always
say
said
that?
guards.
It leads right back to his and Amy's pockets, even deeper hole. When the money is traced, it leads right back to his and Amy's pockets. But there's only so much Ross can do. The police aren't telling him that he's their main suspect, so all he can do is keep on lying, devastatingly unaware that they've already unraveled his entire scheme.
They destroyed our business. From January to when this happened,
here it
I
is.
made just shy of $100,000 with our mobile grooming business. As soon as this happened, with all the media coverage, all of that went away because of this.
And you said you had a large amount of money in your single wide. Is that where the money came from?
The money that was in our single wide in my safe, about $80,000, that was literally the savings between Amy and myself.
The detectives know Ross
So
is
is this
lying through
tax
his
fraud
teeth, but
or
for the
tax
sake of
evasion
having a civil
at the same
conversation
time?
with Amy, they'll hold off on confronting and accusing Ross until after their talk with Amy.
Just shovel the bullshit out of that front seat right now so Amy can get in. He's the victim, you know.
Oh, I got that very quickly. But follow the money.
Follow the money.
You could tell that he's...
Yeah, I saw him.
And every time he's talking, he can't look at you in the
Yep.
face.
I know.
Uh-huh.
You got a tiger by the tail here, though, buddy. Don't think you don't. This is a career case, let me tell you.
Your grandmother, and then obviously Mr. Scott and his mom. What do you remember? What can you help us with? Where should we look?
Yeah, me and my therapist talk about that a lot. Obviously, you got to know finding people doesn't really leave you in the right state of mind. Can do things to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then
That's
everything
true,
that
actually.
ensued. I mean, honestly, I can barely remember the funerals.
Ross, tell us a little bit about the relationship between I guess y'all and the family. Something happened?
We got into it around 4th of July or something with Mike, but
Okay.
he wasn't a nice person at all. Because I told my mom, look, I don't like it. My kids can't come over there until we straighten some stuff out.
So at the time of the murders, you and your mom were back talking, everything was kind of getting patched up?
Me and my mom, my mother was not a horrible person. She was prickly.
She always hated her mom.
So can you tell us a little bit about that weekend when were you gone, when you got home?
She's trying to make it seem like, I just have to put this out there. Yeah, as soon as she said that, I was like, she's trying to make it seem as if everything's hunky-dory. But they already talked to the other lady who either worked for them or was the neighbor or whatever it was. And she goes, well, she always had a bad relationship with her mom as soon as with the dad at the hospital. So
When you found the bodies or what happened?
He brought his mom, my mother-in-law, to do Halloween. We went down there, we spent the weekend.
What day did y'all leave to go down?
Friday night,
Friday night.
I drove myself quite crazy for about a couple of years there. And I've chosen to step away, and I've got to be healthy, and I've got kids, and I've got a life to live, and if somebody else dropped the ball on it, it's not on me anymore.
Okay. Well, if we just ask Ross a couple more things, and we'll be out of here.
Now that Amy has been spoken to as well, detectives are ready to drop the ball on Ross and let him know that they don't suspect him of the murders. They know he did it.
A couple more things, and we're gonna get out of here. Okay. There was something that had come up. You remember on
It
and
shouldn't
on.
be funny, but it's the fact that they've already got everything they need, and this guy just lied to them, she lied to them, and they're just gonna be like, hey, you did it.
Like a red pair of shoes.
Red pair of shoes?
ASIC Speedstar shoes.
Don't recall.
And these ASIC Speedstar
Oh, yeah,
shoes.
okay, I remember those shoes.
What happened to the shoes?
That's a good question, because I have no idea.
This is from crime scene photos, and these are
I think he
confirmed
knows. He
to
must have
be
dumped them or
ASIC
something, right?
Speedstar shoes.
Okay.
Inside, and they have blood droplets on them. And interestingly enough, you're at the Quick Trip wearing those shoes the night of the murders.
Okay.
So if you never went in the house, I'm just interested to know how they ended up in the house.
I have no idea how those shoes would have had any kind of blood on them. I mean, obviously I was wearing them at a Quick Trip. on the 31st.
Well, and they never found the clothes either that you were wearing.
So we got rid of it somewhere.
That hoodie?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to think of an answer.
Here.
If y'all
He's
left
got nothing.
on Halloween afternoon, but you're on video there, the timeline doesn't add up. The fact that your shoes are inside of the house in blood, that's a big problem.
Again, I don't know where the shoes are at the moment, and I don't remember whatever happened to those particular shoes. If something were to have happened that I had done,
so he
it would be
dumped
stupid
it.
for me to wear them into the house and then wear them after that, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They were never found. So it's almost like you got rid of them.
Uh-huh.
I highly doubt I got rid of them then, but I mean...
Here's the bottom line, okay? So we know what happened, and we're about to prove it.
Okay.
So the opportunity for you is now. If you want to look out for yourself, is to really just to tell us what happened. If this was something that Amy put you up to doing,
just
because
be
obviously you
honest
have
here,
the skill
bro.
set
It'll
to
be
go in
so
here and
much
do
easier.
this, and y'all did
I know
benefit
this
from
is
the
already
murders,
over and
okay,
done
because
with,
you got a lot of
and
money. We've been
whatever's
through your
happened, but
financials.
from watching
Okay,
this, just tell
y'all-
them.
We did not get a lot of money from this.
Y'all were struggling all up until the murders. The money found in your safe, there's money photos from Mike's computer that match the same serial numbers as the money that was found in the
photos
safe.
on the computer.
So
got
it's
it.
not savings. That's money that was found inside of Mike and Kathy's house that Mike was saving, and y'all took it after you killed him. Okay?
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you right now, we're gonna prove it. If you think she's not gonna crack on you when we do, then you're mistaken.
We're not here because we think you did it or you might have did it. We know you did it. Okay, we're just here as a courtesy. I'm just telling you, Ross. Financially, at the time, things were really bad. We got text messages between you and Amy saying you don't have the money a few weeks before. And you said it the best.
There it
Follow the
is.
money.
Yep.
We did that. It led right into your single wide. It's piling up, Ross. You don't want to roll the dice on this, I'm telling you. It's not going to come up pretty.
If, for instance, Amy and I decided to, or if I decided to take a deal,
Uh-huh.
mine
Guilty.
is going to be better than Amy's because I came to the trough first, right?
Right.
So, prison time, no matter what.
He's guilty.
Amy,
he just basically
prison
admitted
time,
it.
no matter what.
Doing all this.
My 3 kids in here, they grew up without a father and a mother. Granted, my mother would be more than willing to take them. I understand that.
We're not the ones who put you on this predicament. Now you're gonna have to deal with the consequences.
Yep.
10, 20 years in prison.
He's already done the math.
That's best case minimum scenario, I would imagine, right?
He's
It's
already
better than the
figured all
rest of
this
your
out.
life or death, isn't it?
I mean, it might as well be one of those two. By the time I get out, my kids aren't going to know who the I am. I mean, the other option is I probably need to talk to a lawyer at this juncture here.
All right, Ross.
You're free to
I
go.
respect that.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
4 days after these interviews, Amy and Ross were arrested in Pendleton, South Carolina, and were charged with the 4 brutal murders of Kathy Scott, Mike Scott, Barbara Scott, and Violet Taylor.
There you go.
The 2 are being held in prison without bond while they're tried in court. The couple's next court appearance is set for later this year, where they'll meet their true fate in the hands of a judge.
Wow. So how can you hold on to this? It's crazy to me. The psychological thing behind it is that someone can go. They went 8 years. They can hold on to that for years and years and years, and not even think about, hey, you know, this is affecting me. Like, they haven't even thought about the fact that it's going to affect their kids, his parents, right? Because obviously they're her parents. But what are people on or going through to make them do something like this? That was rough. That was a tough watch, but Jesus Christ, it just shows that no matter what you do, it will always come back to haunt you. So you always gotta do the best in the world, not the worst.